Wait, before we start talking about the Olympics, let's mention this. The Leo. Right now, the Leo has their 2024 Reader's Choice Awards going on. So, really important. Anybody that's listening to this, it would really help us. There's going to be a link in the page for voting to vote for the best podcast in the Ville. And it would really mean a lot to us. Just go ahead and it takes about 10, 15 seconds to go and just type in the Ville Chillin. It'd help us a lot.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ville Chillin Podcast. Today, we wanted to take some time during this time of the Olympics to actually celebrate some Kentucky Olympians, whether it's current day, past Olympians, or whatever.
Future.
Hey, there's definitely a future one we're going to be talking about. So we just want to take some time out to consider that. The Olympics is really cool, man. It's been around for so long, and I mean,
it's got a history. Like it's older. It's almost as old as the Kentucky Derby.
Almost old as the Kentucky Derby. The
modern Olympics, anyways.
Whichever. Olympics, right? Which that's kind of where we're gonna start. So let's just go ahead and jump into that.
Well, hey, wait. Before we start talking about the Olympics, let's mention this. The Leo. Right now, the Leo has their 2024 Reader's Choice Awards going on.
Facts.
So, really important. Anybody that's listening to this, it would really help us. There's going to be a link in the page for voting to vote for the best podcast in the Ville. And it would really mean a lot to us. Just go ahead and it takes about 10, 15 seconds to go and just type in the Ville Chillin. It'd help us a lot.
Yeah, so when you go to if you go to vote.leoweekly.com, again, link will be in the description, and we can put the exact link for the podcast voting. Just type in the Ville Chillin Podcast. It means a lot to us, and it helps us keep doing what we're doing. They do this every year, and we've just kind of really got our feet going in all of this, and it's going to mean a lot.
Yeah, and Leo's great too. Like, it's one of those ones, like it's a local free like magazine or whatever
publication.
Yes, it's all throughout the city, and it's gonna always like keep you kind of up to date. Like, they're doing a lot of the things like kind of help inspire us kind of do what.
And you know what? If you browse the categories, you might find some other really crazy. Like, you might find some other categories to put some of your other favorite people into. So whether it's restaurants, entertainment, etc., we've talked to, Stefan, who's in the Extra Crispy Improv.
Yeah, we're definitely. I know I'm voting for him for best improv, dude.
Exactly,
Extra Crispy for sure. They're amazing.
The best improv troupe is
for sure
a category. So there's some things you wouldn't expect to be in there. Like, there's one that I saw that said, the thing you didn't expect to happen this year, or something like that, like something crazy, you know what I mean? So definitely check out the Leo, check out Leo Weekly, and we would really appreciate it if you vote for us for best podcast.
Yeah.
Moving back to the Olympics and the origin of the Olympics, the history. We're not obviously going to cover too much of the history.
Didn't Zeus make it though? Didn't he invent it?
Zeus and Hercules.
Okay.
Yeah, like they were both involved. Like, when you really look at the ancient Olympics, that's the story behind it. I think it was in like the year 776 BC is said to be the first Olympics at Mount Olympia, of course, and that's where the whole thing gets its name from. And over the years, there have been other recreations. You had, in the 17th century, you had the Cotswold Games or Cotswold Olympic Games in England in 1612 to 1642. But they weren't international. They weren't worldwide. And it didn't really go worldwide truly until 1896. And in 1896, that's when the ILC was kind of created. I mean, the ILC was probably created a little bit before that, but that's when the first actual International Olympic Committee met, and that's when they decided to have the Summer Olympics in the Panathinaikos Stadium in Athens. I probably butchered that name. I apologize.
No, you said it right.
But that's when the first Olympics took place. And back to your point, the Kentucky Derby originates a little bit before that.
Right, yeah. I mean, it was inspired. I mean, that inspired...
It was like
Used to bring it back.
1874. I'd have to double check, but it was around that time. It was a little bit before the actual IOC Olympics. Is when the Kentucky Derby got started. So the Derby is obviously a rich history for everybody from everywhere, and everybody loves celebrating it. And a couple fun facts, that most people probably know, but I think it's cool to talk about. It's always an election year in the United States, right?
Every 4 years, yeah.
And you said leap year, right?
Yeah.
So it's always on a leap year, always on an election year, which is kind of crazy. It makes it even easier to recognize when the Olympics are coming.
And I wish we would have looked it up before the show, but I wonder which one happened first. I mean, I'm thinking the every 4 years for the Olympics have been since it was it came back, but I wonder what it's been with us as like U.S. when we started doing that every 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like some of the original presidents were like they had longer terms than like 4 to 8 years. 4 years, but then like if they can only serve 2 terms, so maximum of 8 years. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. But anyways, yeah, we just think it's really cool that the Olympic Games have so many people from Kentucky and even a couple from Louisville who are really making an impact. And then also just that history of it. Again, it's the Kentucky Derby's older than the Olympics.
Definitely. Well, in
modern day Olympics.
And like there's a couple with the modern ones, I think there's a couple Olympians that really stand out just generally. Like people, like one of the first images was it Jesse Owens? I believe he's the runner, right?
I don't know.
Fastest dude in the world, Jesse Owens.
I can't say.
So
I'm not familiar.
Same year as like when Germany's raging war or whatever, Jesse Owens gets gold, and then there's Germany, that like silver, bronze. So like that's the very first iconic image of like modern day Olympians that I think of. And then right there next to that, like I think like right below it or next to it, whatever you want to call it, is Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Like that is the quintessential Olympian,
especially from the Ville.
Yes, exactly.
The original Olympian from the Ville, not just an Olympian. That's unfair to say. There were probably other people competing in the Olympics, but the first like real gold medalist like that we think of in modern times.
Iconic. Like,
I don't want to say there's not others, but it's the first one we think of in modern times.
Well, just really definitely transcending those border barriers.
So many. And he went to Rome, which is kind of really cool because the whole thing, like he went to Rome to win in the light heavyweight division, and he was only 18, won all 4 of his fights easily. And the only reason I'm comfortable saying the word easily, because we're obviously biased talking about Muhammad Ali, is because it's on the Olympics.com website.
We didn't say, we're saying it, but they did too.
They said it. I'm just reading what they said.
We're agreeing. I'm agreeing.
And so it's really big that he just came in, swept them up, and he's from our humble city of Louisville.
And as a kid, 18 years old.
18 years old.
Go across the world and like
and in
make a name for himself.
Rome, which is, very close to where the Olympics started in ancient times. You know what I'm saying?
Like full circle kind of thing.
It's very close. He traveled all the way to Rome for it. And that's really, 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 really freaking cool to us. I mean, if you travel the city, if you drive anywhere in the city, you're going to see murals of Muhammad Ali. You're going to see signs of Muhammad Ali. We got Muhammad Ali Boulevard. I think there's even a highway like named after Muhammad Ali. So,
we're gonna have a school one day. I don't know why we don't have that yet. Like there needs to be a Muhammad Ali.
It's wild. And so it's just so cool that we have that. Like every time you think of the Olympics, if you're from Kentucky,
too. Did we say the airport?
No, I didn't. But the Muhammad Ali, yeah, exactly. Every time you think of the Olympics, you should think of Muhammad Ali. If you're from Kentucky, and especially if you're from Louisville, you know, it's just wild. It's wild.
That's where the goat came from. You know, we've talked about him many times, and we're going to talk about him. Like every few episodes, we're going to be bringing him up. We always do. This time especially.
Take every chance that we can to talk about Muhammad Ali because he is the GOAT. He is the greatest. He is the one. He kind of put Louisville on the map in a lot of these athletic senses and in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, corporations have come in and done their thing because of our location. But as far as an individual, Muhammad Ali's the one. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
But you know, that's past tense, and we can. There's definitely other people who have influenced or like been major contributors to sports in Kentucky who were Olympians, and one of them was Justin Thomas. He was a golfer from Louisville, Kentucky. He competed in 2020. You got Lee Kiefer, who was a fencer, or is a fencer actually, grew up in Lexington, graduated from Notre Dame University, and is currently enrolled in medical school at U of K. And you know what? She didn't just win in 2020. She won this year.
Every 4 years, dude. It's like every 4 years she winning.
She won this year, which is really freaking cool.
Yeah. It's the first time I think that that's happened, like where anybody in North America, not just America, but North America in general, won fencing gold.
There was a video that I saw probably on Reddit where like at the Olympics there was this dude who was like supposed to be the number one fencer in the world, and he like just started yelling at the refs. Different country. I don't remember. I don't want to go into all of it, but he was pissed.
Well, oh shit!
But she won.
Dude, yeah,
she won gold.
She did amazing. And then like they even have a Lexington fencing club.
That's really cool.
That, I think I don't know if she helps train there or what.
It's really cool, man. It's awesome to see. Like, I think like this is a true testament to the United States of America, as in like
diversity.
Yes, 100%. When you look at the table tennis champions for the U.S., like it's so diverse, and it's just really cool to see. It's cool to see so many people coming together to represent one country in the Olympic sports. And I think that's awesome, and that's a true testament to what the United States of America is supposed to be. I think it's beautiful.
Definitely.
Going back to the 80s? Yeah. We got Mary T. Meager Plant, who was born in Louisville, Kentucky in 1964. At age 14, she set her first world record in swimming in the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, and she won 3 gold medals in the 100-meter and 200-meter butterfly races and the 4x100-meter medley relay. She earned silver and bronze medals in the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, South Korea. That's amazing,
dude, and she's awesome too. She donated towards the Mary T. Aquatic Center, so it's like an amazing Olympic-sized pool where anybody in the area can go and swim and like train.
That's so cool. It's so cool, man. Like that, all of these people. And speaking of the GOAT, he's in this article too. We won't harp on it too much more. But if you're from Louisville or Kentucky, you know who Muhammad Ali is. Sidney McLaughlin-Leveron, track and field star who attended the University of Kentucky. Not born in the Bluegrass State, but had exceptional success as a college athlete at the University of Kentucky, breaking the collegiate record for the 400-meter hurdles, and competed at the 2016 and 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. She won 2 gold medals in the 400-meter hurdles and the women's 4x400-meter relay. Insane records. William Shaner, I really hope I'm getting these names right. Sports shooter who attended the University of Kentucky. Born in Colorado Springs, he enrolled at the University of Kentucky in 2018 and majored in economics. And he competed in the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo and won a gold medal in the men's 10-meter air rifle competition. Which, when you want to talk about shooting sports,
Go Kentucky, right?
Well, that, but I mean, just to shout out other countries,
Turkey?
you know, yeah, the dude
Turkey
from
was gonna
Turkey,
say,
bro,
dude,
like
he's ready to go.
dude, that dude killed it.
Man,
That's what everybody's talking about in shooting sports. But we got our own gold medalist here too. Amazing stuff, man. These Olympic sports are really crazy. And then Willis A. Lee,
another shooter, right?
born in 1888 in Natley, Kentucky. He attended the U.S. Naval Academy and served in the First and Second World Wars. I want to point out how amazing and scary and brave that has to be. First and Second World Wars. Distantly related to General Robert E. Lee and Charles Lee.
Fun fact, he won the gold medal in that uniform.
Lee competed in shooting in the 1920 Olympic Games and won 7 medals. 5 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. Died in 1945 while serving as Vice Admiral in the Pacific Ocean and is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. You know, if you...
Did he?
It's hard to put into words.
I hope he got to live to see the Nazis lose. Was that 45?
It was 45, but we don't. It doesn't say when in 45 because I think the war ended in 45, right?
He definitely got to see them lose the Olympics. But
They was already on their way out of the war in 45. There was already hard pressure on them. But I just want to say, man, that is wild. That is insane. Coming from here, born in 1888 and served in both world wars. How many? I'm sure there's a lot of people who did serve in both world wars, but there can't be that many Olympians who served in both world wars.
that's got to be a record.
There can't be that many Olympians that served in both world wars, and that is just beyond impressive to me.
And fun fact, he was older than the Olympics also.
That's a fact. Yes.
By a couple of years, not by much.
Not by much, but he was. And that's really freaking cool, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
R.I.P. Sam Morrison.
Moving to some school 23 Kentucky Wildcats to compete at 2024.
Right.
Yeah, damn. Tons of students from UK. Now, us here being based in the Ville, we're huge Ville fans. We're huge Card fans. However,
Go Cards.
we will give credit due where it's due. And the below Olympians have connections to Kentucky. We're not going to harp on them. We're going to go slow enough where if you want to check out the video, they're here. or we'll post this same link in the description below in case you're only listening to the audio version and want to know. However, there's several people competing in the track and field. It's about 8 or 9. You got about the same number competing in men's basketball 5-on-5 who have previous gold medals.
Can't forget Anthony Davis. Definitely one of those names that sticks out.
Women's basketball 5-on-5, women's basketball 3-on-3, diving, fencing, going back to Lee Kiefer, who we mentioned a little bit earlier, and women's volleyball. So I think that's very important that the University of Kentucky took the time to create a whole article about competitors in the Olympics over the years who are competing at 2024 Paris Olympic Games who have ties to Kentucky. Going back to Lee Kiefer, UK student, medical student at that, won last year and won this year, and her teammate actually won silver. And not only did her teammate win silver, but makes history as the first black U.S. fencer to win an Olympic medal in an individual women's event. Huge moments. I think the whole story here is that as we continue this journey with every episode we do, we love to point out the story that Kentucky has to offer, whether it's the people, the places, the everything. Like, there's some big things happening in relation to Kentucky, and it's so fun to read about these stories. Yeah. And I mean, Lee Kiefer, back-to-back gold medals in foil fencing, and she's a medical student. She's not going to stop doing big things after she finishes school.
No. We're gonna hear about her again. Like, she's gonna be running. I wouldn't be surprised if she's carrying that torch. A few years from now, she's just like she's carrying those medals.
She's balancing medical school with Olympic fencing.
I would think somebody would have to put one off for the other, but she's like, nah, I'll just do both at the same time.
And most people probably do.
Juggling it. Like,
most people probably do
amazingly.
So it's wild.
And we really touched on like kind of like the history. Right, like the past, right, with Muhammad Ali and Miss Mary Meagher, and then like the current, right, and still the future. But then like going even further, there's this a 9-year-old, the fastest kid in the Ville, Mr. What's his name?
Yeah, so Josiah Newby,
dude,
competed at the Junior Olympics. We couldn't really find too much information as far as the results. That very well could be for privacy reasons because it is the Junior Olympics, right? But anybody at 9 years old willing to try to represent their city and just do better. When you watch the video, you hear his testament to why he's doing this and what he's doing. And he really just wants to represent us. And, all love to the whole state of Kentucky. But the fact that he's from the Ville, that pulls a little harder on my heartstrings. Sure. You know what I mean?
And when you listen to his interview, it was really cool when he was like they were like, what do you plan to do? He was like, I plan to do big things. And like, definitely what stuck to mind was like Muhammad Ali, like that. Yeah. Definitely From like the history to the now to little dude's gonna be the future, like really cool.
Absolutely, and he just has the
and he's
most
got
support.
Asthma. And which I mean, go.
That's no joke.
Like
dude.
Louisville, like that's probably another testament to Louisville is our that Ohio Valley.
Dude, it doesn't
smog.
help.
Yeah, so like he's running like
not just smog. Okay, the Ville contributes, but just the pollen.
Yeah,
because even up in the hills, all of that just drops down into the Ville. And so for this young man to be crowned the fastest kid in the Ville He competed at the Junior Olympics. Amazing story. And here at Ville ENT on the Ville Chillin Podcast, we love the stories, especially the stories about people from the Ville and from Kentucky in general. It's so cool to see that so much of this just encapsulates everything that we talk about. Like, I really love this episode because of that, because it really kind of it wraps a bow around so many things that we've talked about. But we didn't actually start this podcast until like 2022, right? And now we're in the Olympic Games in 2024, which hadn't happened since 2020. And this really just kind of ties a nice bow around a lot of things that we've talked about, that there really is so much talent here. And it's not just in athletics, but the fact that there is so much in athletics really helps, because we got things from art to theater to music and everything else.
That whole culture too,
and it's
like,
just so cool.
Definitely symbiotic. You know what I'm saying? The art kind of like the athletes inspire the art, and the art inspires the athletes in a lot of ways. And
exactly.
It's really going to be really awesome to see in 4 years some of the people we've talked about today, see where they are in 4 years and see them back, competing for that gold.
100%. And to round it all out and blend the music with the athleticism, Sonny Choi was on a quest to get Olympic gold in breakdancing.
Talk about history. Like, that's
breakdancing. For one, it's historic that breakdancing is even involved in the Olympics.
A Chinese breakdancer from Kentucky, dude. Like, what?
So cool. And she's the top-ranked B-girl in America. Emerging from backstage at New York City's Hammerstein Ballroom with the confidence of a boxer, we'll just go ahead and say the confidence of a GOAT.
Who are you talking about?
You might have heard of him, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, dude, I ain't heard about him. No.
Cassius Clay.
Oh, no, I don't know who that is.
Well, Cassius Clay was his name when he competed.
I know. I don't recognize that.
So, no, it's really cool. It's really cool that they're involving so many different sports, and we're not gonna, this article's on ESPN. You can see it on the screen. Comment if you need it, but I'm sure you can find it. Look up Sonny Choi's quest for U.S. Olympic gold in breakdancing, and you will find it. But it's insane, man. It's so cool. So cool.
Well, it's hard enough to become, like the best in anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard enough for her to do that, but then for her to really campaign and push for it to be accepted in a space that it wasn't before.
Yep.
So, I mean, dude, the thing is, like,
now at 34, she's looking to prove something. Like, this is wild. It's a really cool story. Such a cool story.
Which, I mean, she's not from Kentucky, but she was raised here, right? Like, went to school here. Like, she's definitely got roots here.
Yeah. It's just so cool. The Olympics really shed a light on so many things that normally don't get the attention that they should. But yeah,
like like to where like physics, like we hit the limits to physics, like where like scientists are like, yeah, this is most of what the human can physically possibly do, and then people go out and just prove it wrong, like or correct it. Like,
the human body is insane, dude. It really is. I mean, when you look at some, and we're a little bit late. Like, let's go ahead and put it out. Like, we're a little bit late getting this episode out. The Olympic Games end very soon, but this year has just proven like the sheer will that it takes, and the limits of the current human body. But it's a true testament to just like genetics and just genetics and will. Like it just, you can't.
And how it brings us together.
It's insane.
Right. One, just to like inspire us, physically, but also how it brings us together mentally, where especially on election year, when we're kind of divided by politics, it's something that
Election
can
year.
bring us together by, pushing ourselves to our boundaries, seeing how far we can go and, be the best that we can.
It is crazy, and it is crazy that it always falls on election year.
Yeah. It's a balance. I guess it's a balance. One thing divides us, one thing unites us, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to understand the history. It's fun to just understand and recognize and celebrate these phenomenal athletes. And it's just cool, man. I'm glad that we have this platform to talk about it. But speaking of voting, make sure you go to vote.leoweekly.com. Vote for your favorite podcast, but beyond that, vote for your favorite restaurant, your favorite improv troupe, your favorite comic, your favorite this or that. Like, the Leo Weekly does so much to actually encapsulate all of the favorites around the city. And if you just go to vote.leoweekly.com, link in the description, it'll take you to where you need to vote for anything. And we would really, really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed anything that we do, we would really appreciate it if you vote for us. You can vote every day while the voting is open, and we really appreciate it. Make sure to follow us on any social media. We're everywhere. And yeah, definitely, I'm interested to see these last couple of days of the Olympics. It's going to be cool. You got anything you want to add?
I think that covers it. Until next time, especially in the next 4 years, we're gonna come back to this. We're gonna circle back.
We're going to circle back for sure. We're definitely going to do another one in 4 years. And I guess with that, we will see you all on the next one.
Yeah.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm gonna cut it to five.